All right, we're live. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about my iOS contracting, talk about some of the projects, and just give a little more detail on what it's like to actually be working as an iOS contractor. And then I'm going to do a quick channel update, talk about Patreon page, the job hunt update, and then we're going to go ahead and dive into some Q&A. So first, let me talk about kind of how the basic iOS contracting is structured, at least where I'm working at. And to give context, I'm working for a company like an agency that goes out and finds projects, and then they have a team of developers that will work on that project. And for example, I'm just the iOS guy on that team. The team usually consists of a designer, a back-end web API guy, Android guy, and an iOS guy. And like I said, I am the iOS guy on that team. So before I get too deep into that, go ahead and start asking questions. As usual, I will go ahead and after I'm done with my little 5-minute spiel at the beginning, I'll go back through and start answering some questions. What's up, guys? Thanks for showing up. Trying the new time too. This is the new 9 a.m. time slot. Yep, good morning, Thomas. Glad to see you. Before we were doing it at 1 p.m. Pacific time, but I got a lot of requests from people in India saying that that was way too late for them. I guess that was like 1 in the morning for them. So we're trying earlier so I can hopefully get a much larger audience at this morning. So I'm going to kind of test it out. Usually I get about 30 to 35 people in the live streams. So we're going to see how many this brings in. If it's going to be lower, I might switch it back. So I'm going to be testing different times, but we're going to give this a shot. Good morning, Sultan. Good to see you. So anyway, like I was saying, feel free, ask a bunch of questions. I'll come back and answer them. But I'm going to finish talking about my contracting projects. Like I said, it's a team. It's a back-end guy, a designer, Android, and iOS, and I'm the iOS guy. So that's kind of how it is too when you're actually at an office in a real, I shouldn't say real, when you're in an office setting when you're actually working as a team in the same room. I like that because if I have a question about the API, I can just turn around to the guy building the API and ask him a question. Whereas when you're working remotely and everybody's spread across the country, some people in other countries, there's time zones, you don't really get that snappiness of a response to your question. So it's not as efficient of a way to work. So that's kind of frustrating at times, but you just kind of got to deal with it. So that's the basic structure of the iOS contracting. What's going on, Mustafa from Turkey? So let me talk about my projects specifically and how I got started with this company. So the bootcamp I went to has an alumni Facebook group, and they post job openings and people looking for contractors and stuff there. So through that Facebook group, I got connected with this company for a very small project to start off. It was basically just converting an Objective-C code base to Swift, and like I said, it was a pretty small project. It only took me like maybe a day or two to do. So that's how I got my foot in the door with this company. They liked my code, they liked how I worked, and right after that small project, that only took probably about a week. I say a day or two, but I didn't work, nonstop all day. So after a week of doing that project, they immediately put me on a rescue mission, if you will. So they had a main project they were working on that their former iOS developer had left. And in the weeks between, after he left, they had a bunch of other developers working on the project, kind of pitching in when they could. So as you can imagine, having a bunch of people pitching in on the side, trying to squeeze in work here and there, the code base was a little messy, because again, you had the one guy who started it, then you had a bunch of people pitching in, and then you had me coming in. So it's kind of like a rescue mission. The project was flailing a little bit, so I had to come in there and save the day, so to speak. But I want to talk about that code base because it'll make the next project make more sense. That code base, so the first guy that did it was all programmatic UI, everything, no storyboards, no nothing. And then all the people that pitched in started using storyboards, zibs, and everything. So I basically had a little bit of, like I said, the code was just coding styles was very spread out, and it was very hard to kind of make sense of. But at the end of the day, it did come in, worked my ass off, and cleaned up the project to where it was in good shape. And we actually just launched it a little bit ago. But the reason I talk about that project is because the next project I'm on, which I'm currently working on, is all mine, which I love from the beginning. Like I was the one that did file, new project, started it, and it's been all me from the start. Now, that's not necessarily a good thing. You definitely want 2 sets of eyes on your code. So I do have the CTO of the company does review my pull requests and reviews my code. So I do have another set of eyes on the code. So it's not just me sitting in a room building an app with nobody, checking me. But that app I'm really enjoying working on that app because, like I said, I'm not dealing with 8 different coding styles, and it's clean from the start, and I like that. So But I want to bring up this project as well because I keep preaching to you guys that I know most of you guys are just learning Swift. So I keep preaching to you guys, yes, it's going to be hard in the beginning and you have to power through. And even I'm dealing with that with this project. For example, I'm building the Stripe integration into this project, and I have never done that before. For those of you that don't know, Stripe is a payment processing company. So basically, if you want to like make payments on a credit card, what's going on, Ben? If you want to make payments on a credit card, you have to, Stripe is a thing you can use to basically make payments securely, so you don't have to deal with that yourself. Anyway, long story short, I'm working on that integration. I've never done it before. So for me, this was like a roadblock that I had to power through because I had to read the docs, I had to get help from other people, and it's hard. The first time you do things is hard, and but I'm not saying Stripe integration is hard. It's just because I've never done it before. For example, the next time I have to do it, like I'm done with it, but the next time I have to do it, it's not going to be hard at all. Like I've already done it. I have this code base as a reference. It'll be a breeze the next time I do it. And that's the point I want to talk to you guys about, is that when you're first starting off, like everything is hard. Everything seems daunting. But the more you do it, the easier it'll get, and you'll just, like I said, Stripe. Now Stripe is now in my bag of tricks, so to speak. Like next time I have to do a Stripe integration, not going to bat an eye. It'll be great. And for you guys, every time you complete something, every time you do something, it's in your bag of tricks. You have it now. It'll be much easier the next time you do it. And the great thing is make sure you're saving all your code bases. Like I have access to so many code bases, whether it's companies and projects I've worked on or tutorials. And I have it up in Dropbox. I would highly recommend not having it on your computer. Put it in the cloud, Dropbox, whatever you use. But I constantly am going back and referencing old projects because it's impossible to memorize all this stuff that we do as developers. So it's easy for me to be like, oh, I don't remember how to do that, but I know I did it in this project over here. Let me go look at it. I'll pull up the project, review it for 5-10 minutes, and be like, oh, okay, I got it. Let's do it. So definitely keep all your code if you're not doing it, and make sure you keep it on the cloud. But yeah, so that's the project I'm working on now. It's all mine. It's nice and clean. I like it. It's due in 2 weeks, so I have a lot of work to do. I'm going to be very busy the next 2 weeks, but that's that. Let me go back and catch up on some questions and see what's going on here. So, hey Sultan, good morning. Mustafa, I just hate from Turkey. Talked to you earlier. Rahul, who does web services for you, or do you do it yourself? Rahul, like I said, the contracting company it's a team. So there's a back-end web developer that builds the API, and he takes care of that. So that's also why I don't really have much experience in like Firebase in the back-end as a services, is because I just came from an actual startup company. They built their own custom back-end, so I never had to mess with that. And then at this company, we have our own back-end guy that builds our custom back-end. So that's all I've really dealt with in my career. So Tashi says, hi Sean, in one of your tutorials, you maintained that you worked with MVVM structure. Can you please create a tutorial on iOS around MVVM to get head around the structure? Yeah, Tashi, so before I left the startup, before I started contracting, we had just started building our next product in MVVM. So I have dabbled in it. I will not claim to be an expert in MVVM at all, but I've studied it, I've read a ton of blog posts on it, and I've begun the implementation of it. That being said, I haven't built a full product in MVVM, so I would have to do a little more research on it. So I definitely want to do it because a lot of people are requesting that. So yeah, that one will probably come in time. I can't just turn around and whip that one out in a day or two. That'll take some time to work on. Ben says, yeah, man, great programming advice. Always keep adding tools to your toolbox. Yeah, that's all it is. I don't know if you guys saw 2 live streams ago where I busted out my iPad and I had the bars of like kind of like a character in an RPG game where you have all different attributes. You just got to keep moving those bars up. Go back and watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, you keep powering up your attributes. Stripe integration is an attribute, core data, whatever it is. The more you do it, you're just adding it to your bag of tricks. Val says, what technology stacks are commonly used in the backend and SF? Pretty much all of them. I mean, as you can imagine, there's thousands of startups here, and all the major companies are here, so pretty much anything you can imagine. I know the mean stack is gaining popularity. I'm not a backend guy, so I'm gonna butcher this. Don't bash me if I butcher this, but it's the MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node.js, I believe. But again, I'm not a backend guy, so. But what backends are popular here in SF is all of them. Just because there's so many startups here, if you specialize in one, you can find a job in that. So iFills or Hey Alan says, hi Sean, when you were learning programming Swift, how many hours per day did you spend learning? I pretty much dedicated all day, every day. As you guys probably know, I went to a boot camp, so that forced me to do 10 to 12 hours a day. But that was only, so it took me from 6 months, it took me 6 months from the day I started like learning to the day I got my first job, roughly. And 2.5 of those months were spent in a boot camp, pretty much the last 2.5 of those months. So, but before that, I had already left my job. I had savings saved up, and I knew I was basically, I had a mission to become an iOS developer. So I basically wasn't working full time. I didn't have any other commitments. I basically just played basketball and learned how to code in Swift. That was pretty much my life for 6 months. So yeah, I was able to dedicate a lot of time to it, and it still took 6 months to get there. So yeah. Saeed says, hi Sean, can you please do a tutorial on higher order functions and closures? Yeah, I did a little bit. So the filter, map, and reduce video, those are technically higher order functions and closures. But that's kind of just like scratching the surface. I know what you're saying. I can't do more on that. I'll definitely add that to the list. Mustafa says, I'm new to Swift actually. It's been 8 months. Now I'm learning and using RX Swift for a project. Is it a mistake? I'm not actually, I haven't used RX Swift before, so I can't speak intelligently on that. I'm not super familiar, sorry. All right, I'm all caught up on questions. Let me jump to a quick channel update, but keep asking the questions. I'll go back. So if you followed the last 2 live streams, you know, 2 weeks ago, I got a pretty big growth boost thanks to my WWDC videos. My What's New in Swift 4 was ranking well. And then last week, or prior to last week, I got the Reddit post, which jumped my growth a lot. This week, no, you know, outside growth spurt, and still grew by about 300 subscribers a week. So it was nice to see what a normal week was like, where I didn't have some, you know, outlier growth spurt. So I'm pretty happy with the growth. So thank you guys for subscribing and watching. Greatly appreciate it. The Patreon page is starting to pick up a little bit too. If you want to check that out, it's just patreon.com/SeanAllen. Speaking of, the voting closed yesterday for next week's video. So Monday's video is going to be about UI action sheets. That was what the voting came out to be. So if you're not familiar with what I do on the Patreon page, I post a list of videos I plan on making, and then you guys get to vote on which one actually gets made that week. So coming up tomorrow's UI action sheet. Currently in the lead right now for next week is concurrency and threading. But yeah, it's a fun little community over there. Go check it out. And yeah, mentoring and coaching, I want to talk about that too. I put that out last week, and it basically filled up very quickly. So what that is I'm offering packages of 6 1-hour individual one-on-one sessions. That can either be me creating projects for you to do, and then we review them, or me helping you out with your current project that you're trying to build. But yeah, I put that out there, and I can only take on 3 students at a time just because I only have so much time. And those 3 spots filled up basically last week. So if you're interested in that, feel free to hit me up on the Twitter DM or email me. I'll put you kind of on a waiting list. But yeah, I didn't think I would get that kind of reception that quickly, but so cool. And I think I'm going to really enjoy teaching you guys. It's a chance for me to get to know you guys better and just really help you out one-on-one. So that's that. All right, let's catch up on some questions here. Hi, Sean. I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name. Red Joker JD. Hi, Sean. Do you socialize with other developers in the San Francisco area, or is it pretty much everyone out for themselves out there? It's an interesting question because developers kind of by default are introverts. You know, they're not the social butterflies of the world typically. However, there are meetups, but it's kind of funny. The meetups, a lot of people just still keep to themselves at the meetup, even though the whole point of the meetup is to go. And I'm guilty of this too. I do it too. But a lot of people go to the meetup and not talk to anybody. But they usually have a educational talk at the meetup, so they're there for that. But yeah, it's hard to socialize with other developers because, like I said, they're generally introverts anyway. So I mean, I do have a few developer friends that I've met just at previous jobs. But yeah, I would say not too much. Most of the people I hang out with are the people I play basketball with, and as you guys may know, sports and computer programming don't usually cross all that much. So typically the guys I play basketball with are like lawyers or in the finance industry here in downtown San Francisco. So those are the people I usually hang out with. Very few developers, actually. Rahul says, please make a video on social media integration, LinkedIn and Twitter. Do you mean just like posting? Like, okay, I think I know what you're saying. Yeah, I can add that. That's pretty easy. It's interesting you said LinkedIn though. You don't see that too often. People wanted to post to LinkedIn. I came thanks to WWDC. So you saw the WWDC videos, and that's how you subscribe. Cool, yeah, like I said, those videos did very well for me, obviously because I put them out quickly and everybody was searching for WWDC stuff. That has since died down because everybody's got their information already. But yeah, thanks for joining the channel. Mustafa asks, oh, that is a great point. How do you manage your time? So managing my time is an interesting, that's interesting when you work from home as a contractor, because you basically live in your office, and it's very easy to be like, okay, I'll just do more hours at night. You know, when you're at the office, you're working the quote unquote 9 to 5 hours. So it's easy to, you know, put off work. You know, sometimes I'll do 3 hours like right away in the morning, and then be like, okay, I'll do more hours at night. And then sometimes, you know, things happen at night where I don't feel like working and I get behind on my hours, and then I have to work on the weekends. So it's managing your time is the hardest thing to do as an iOS contractor. Like, it's very easy to say, hey, working from home, I work for myself, I make my own hours, that would be awesome. It's actually pretty hard. You have to have a lot of willpower and stay focused. Mohammed says, sorry for being late. No problem, Mohammed. If you have a question, feel free to ask. Reed Plunkett, hey Sean, how's it going? Kylo Loco, hey Sean, I also try to make tutorials on Swift topics. Cool. I think I've seen you on Twitter, Kylo, I think. Anyway, could you describe your process and share pointers? Honestly, how I come up with like my topics is just through my day-to-day work. I keep a notes thing as I'm working, and I integrate something. I'm like, okay, cool, that'll be a cool tutorial, and I just add it to the list. And then the process is I just kind of try to simplify it. So I remember I learned myself by watching online YouTube tutorials, RayWonderlick.com. Basically, I was in your shoes 2 years ago. So I remember what it was like trying to watch these videos and trying to understand. So I try to make my videos, like if you guys have obviously watched my videos, I walk through every line of code and explain what's going on, because I remember other tutorials were like, okay, type this here, okay, type this here, and then you're done. Cool, that's it. And you didn't really understand like what they did. So I try to focus my tutorials on, you know, walking through every line of code and making sure you understand it. That's why some of my even simple topics are still 10-minute videos, when in reality they probably could be 3 or 4 minutes and get the point across. But I want to make sure people watching my videos understand what's going on. They're not just blindly typing in a computer and then magic is popping out on the other end, you know? So that's kind of my tip, and I think a lot of people have been receptive to that, because I get a lot of comments saying, wow, it's so easy to understand your videos. I finally get it after watching your video. That's what I would recommend. As far as actual like video production, I mean, I just film in my apartment and do screencasts on my computer. It's pretty simple, actually. Mustafa, do you use any apps for this? For the time management, I do use an app called Time2, Tyme, and then the number 2. I actually like that a lot. It does cost money. I think it's like 15 bucks, but it's cool. And it basically just tracks your app. You know the toolbar at the top of your Mac? There's basically just a timer up there that tracks it, and you can have a bunch of different projects set up. So yeah, it's a good way. And then it'll spit out like charts and graphs on like how much time you're spending on each project. So it's pretty cool. Val says, I'm having difficulty dealing with portrait mode positioning using AutoLayout. What would be your suggestion? Can you please prepare a complex responsive UI tutorial? Actually, Val, you're probably like the 5th person that's asked for a AutoLayout UI tutorial. So I'm definitely going to do that. That's obviously too much to answer right now, but I am going to do that AutoLayout tutorial pretty soon. Reed asks, what skills would you recommend for a current student to learn now who plans computer science in college? Okay, so you're not in college yet and you're going to college for computer science. So I don't have a computer science background. I didn't get a degree in that. My degrees are in economics and finance. So it's hard to say how to prepare for the computer science, coursework. But I mean, there's this book here, the Cracking the Coding Interview, that'll give you a head start. But that's probably too much. Forget I said that. Just go to HackerRank YouTube channel. It's called like HackerRank, and watch their videos on data structures and algorithms. So the way those videos are set up is they spend the first like half of the video describing what the data structure is and how it works, and then the second half they code it. The coding part is probably too much for you, but just watch the first half of where they explain what they are, and that'll give you a huge head start going into the computer science courses. Thomas asks, if you're making an iPhone, iPad app, do you use different storyboard for different devices or vary traits for the devices? So no, I don't use different storyboards. There's size classes, might be a little bit much to get into, but There's like regular, compact, I can't remember the other one. But basically the different screen sizes, whether they're in landscape or portrait, an iPad, an iPhone 6 Plus, are all like compact, regular. I think there's another one, I can't remember off the top of my head. So no, I don't use separate storyboards. You can kind of manipulate it all in the same storyboard. And you can do different constraints based on whether it's compact or regular. So yeah, it's all in one storyboard. Kilo, no problem, you're welcome. How's it going, Jill Sandwich? Mustafa, I use that too. Raghu, hi Sean, was waiting for a vlog. You told you might post interview process you were going through. Yes, Raghu, actually I just edited and uploaded that last night. I'm not gonna publish it today because I'm doing this live stream today. But yeah, more vlogs are coming. So the vlog will come. So like I said, the UI action sheet video is gonna come. And if for those of you who don't know what that is, that's that sheet that kind of pops up from the bottom that you can make selections on. So that's coming Monday. The vlog will come Tuesday. And then after that, I have some other video plans, but those are more fluid plans. But yeah, I've missed the vlogs too. It's been 2 weeks since the vlogs. Like I said, I really like making those, but it got held up because this job process got dragged on a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So, so I finally decided to just, okay, let me put out this vlog, and then I have like 3 or 4 other vlog ideas. So we'll be back on the regular schedule for the vlog here soon. All right, looks like I'm caught up on questions. I have one more thing I want to mention to you guys, and then I'll probably take off unless you guys have more questions coming in. But I don't know if you guys have seen this website or Twitter handle called Made with ARKit. I've been meaning to talk about this in my live streams, but I keep forgetting. Definitely check that out. I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on with ARKit. Again, it's just called, Twitter handle's @MadeWithARKit, or it's just madewitharkit.com. And man, just some of the stuff they're spitting out there is crazy. I don't know if you guys, and I know I'm behind the times. This has all been on Twitter, and I've been meaning to talk about this, but yeah, they have this one where there's like a window, it looks like a stand-up mirror, and then you can see like another world in the mirror, and then if you walk through it, you're like in that other world, and if you turn around and look back at the mirror, you can see like the real world. It's like another dimension. It's crazy, man. And then they have like the SpaceX rocket landing in your pool. I've seen one with like the entire solar system of planets floating in your apartment. Like, definitely check it out, man. I can't wait to see what Apple's going to do with AR. And this is just the beginning. I mean, think about it. ARKit A is still in beta, right? It's not even officially out yet, and the beta's only been out for less than a month. So it's going to get crazy awesome. This is still just the beginning. The rumored Apple AR glasses, I don't know if you guys have heard about that. Hopefully they're going to show those off soon. Yeah, I'm super excited about AR. Like Hilo just mentioned, I have no 3D modeling skills, so that might be I might have to partner up with somebody that can do that, and then I can build an app around that to make a pretty cool AR app. But yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff out there. It's been awesome. All right, guys, if there's no more questions, I'll probably give you 30 seconds to ask any last second questions. If not, I'll probably take off. But thanks for showing up. Definitely check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Sean Allen, doing some cool stuff over there. And like I said, Monday we got the UI action sheet video, Tuesday's the vlog. I think Wednesday I'm going to do merge sort in Swift. So yeah, got more videos coming for you, and thanks a lot. Thanks for coming, Kylo. Thanks, Reed. Thanks, Val. Appreciate it. Have a good one.